Antoine-Tucker. Thank you for being here. The show will start in one moment. So go make sure you take care of the bathroom breaks. Go get your beverage. Get your chips and popcorn. We're about to unplug from the Matrix together. And again, thank you very much for being here. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Montega, Montaga. That is Montega, Montaga. There is only one Montega. There is only one America. There is only one you. And again, thank you for unplugging from the Matrix here with me. The show will start in just a moment. Don't forget, visit the Echelon platform to get all the amazing merch. Make sure that you are supporting the show by wearing it on your body. We have tons of new merch out there for you guys. So feel free to go get you something that represents you being unplugged from the Matrix and from under the control of the deep state and the Illuminati. The show is about to start soon. Hey everybody, this is Tony Montega, Tony X, Antone Tucker. Thank you for being. Due to adult language, themes, and images, I'm gonna warn you, don't have your children around. Please don't let your children hear the language. Please, viewers' discretion is advised. I gave you a warning. Now let's get into the show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, because somewhere around the world it is truly what time it is, and I am your host, the dopest political analyst on the planet and the most feared former congressional and senatorial candidate of these United States. Antone Tucker, Tony Montega, Tone Montega, the truth, the threat, the legend. Neo, why is this man in the room and I'm here with you and we all free? From the Matrix. Thank you for unplugging and coming here with me today. I know you guys like, man, you're consistent, then you're not consistent, but it's just, I have a lot going on in my family, which is just a good thing that's been happening for you guys. That's, that's in the know. And I just needed to make sure that I got some things taken care of, but we're back at it. And also on this platform, Kimberly has been definitely holding it down on X. She's been making sure she's been keeping you guys up to date. And we will be back with our stunning 1 minute, one shot videos tomorrow morning, actually. So you guys stay tuned and wait for that. We're going to go right back to yesterday. We're going to finish breaking down Jeffrey Epstein's escape, what they say plan. But this is not, I believe what Dr. G explains thought was that Jeffrey somehow was trying to fabricate an escape plan. And what I'm insinuating is, no, that was the escape plan. I'm coming from, this is just a recap from yesterday. The paperwork that you see on the screen right now is in Jeffrey's handwriting. The reason why he wrote it down was he was incarcerated. But in my opinion, what I'm alleging is all my opinion, right? I'm alleging that Jeffrey Epstein is alive. At first, I thought that they killed him. I thought that they killed him in the cell, because I know for a fact you can't tamper with them cameras. So my first thought was that they killed him. Then I realized, just after just thinking about everything, his ties and relationships, Bill Barr's father. Ultimately, he was suicidal when Bill Barr was Attorney General. It just didn't make any sense, right? None of it made any sense. But clearly this man was very powerful, because when he went to get incarcerated the first time, he never was in a jail. It's a joke. This guy had presidents painted in compromising ways at his residences. Whether it's Bush with paper planes or Clinton in the blue dress, Clinton photographed with him looking like a 1978 pimp. I'm dead serious. You cannot make it up. Just like you can't make up the United States of America trafficked cocaine. There's a movie American Made with Tom Cruise. He's a pilot. He's flying a bunch of cocaine. And some people are like, well, that's crazy. But it really happened. What they've manufactured is conspiracy theorists equals don't believe. And the thing is, that whole thing has been flipped right on his head. And all of this has exposed it. Yes, they consume children. Yes, they get the children afraid so they can get blood from them. Yes, they mutilate children. How else who in their right mind thinks to take the foreskin of a child and then use that to create a skin cream in order to keep you looking youthful? We've been doing this for years, you guys. We've been at this for years, you guys. I'm not foolish enough to believe that Donald Trump mentioned Jeffrey Epstein and was a pal or buddy with him. I'm open enough to say maybe he had associates who may have been associated with Jeffrey in some way. Maybe they didn't do anything with a child, right? Maybe there was just somebody who just had interactions with him in spite of what kind of monster he was. Because in the real world, people are afraid. People are controlled. Relationships do matter. They make or break legacies. And this was bigger than Nino Brown. This was something that was conquering and controlling the crown. You don't understand. He had information on two princes for being O-deeps. O-deeps. O-D. O-deeps. EP. If he had this kind of pressure, and a lot of people love to put everything on Israel, man. Every single world war that has taken place has already been how it happened, who it involved. It was already disclosed by Albert Pike, Grand Freemason. And right now there's a great deal of manipulation in order for people to hate people because of because of an algorithm. Hold on. 1 2 1 2. Yeah, because of a algorithm that's been set up to manipulate the masses. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't groups of people that are doing heinous shit and everything else. I'm saying that is definitely true. And I'm saying that these people really have no borders, no religion. They're 13 families, and they're what is considered to be the ruling class of this. Whether you call it plane or you call it sphere, I don't really care. And what Jeffrey Epstein showed everybody is that every time a conspiracy theorist told you that they were saying pizza was children and you called us crazy, you were crazy. Because why would Barack Obama be ordering hundreds of hot dogs? Shit makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. This wasn't something that just happened. This has been happening before I was born. This has been happening before most of you was born. This has been happening for God knows how long.
And again, it mentions cool. So once you start hearing this, you start thinking, okay, I feel like maybe we're starting to get to the gist of what might have gone down here. And bear in mind, he made a suspicious phone call the night before it all went offed himself.
They stand for something else, but once again, they are coded. He does not want this to be obvious what he's talking about. But the more significant part is directly below that. Jail out equals 10.
No. He didn't care if someone saw it or not, because at the end of the day, he knew he was getting out. Again, before I started to kind of go off, he wrote this down because he needed something tangible. He's a man who's freely moving around how he wants to, whenever he wants to, and because of him being restricted and left in that area, in that location, in order for him to be sane, he needed to write down the plan because he needed it tangible in front of him. This is how he coped with being there in the first place.
Now that seems pretty clear. He's talking about getting out of jail. Now, what does the 10 stand for? Is he paying somebody $10 million? Is it 10 o'clock? What is 10? All we know is that he is saying jail out equals 10.
Jail out equals 10. Jail out equals 10.
I think that's extremely consequential, particularly given the context of the other page we looked at. Now, below it, some of this is written very clearly, but it's unclear what he's referring to. So he says nothing at all, and then the last word, straw, show. I just can't read those middle letters enough to make that make sense.
I'm thinking that he is saying that it's going to cost him in and around $10 million in order of his maybe his own money that he would need in order to get out of MCC New York.
And then below that, no, it looks like it says no sign me, but it definitely says no something me. So this obviously pairs together with the jail out equals 10, but he just writes so strangely, it's impossible to give you full context, and I don't want to make any major assumptions about what this is saying. So now this is the last page, blankets, AVR, and Medi, and then it says watch, exclamation point. Now this is very interesting because he had an excessive amount of blankets in his prison cell. We know that. That's very well documented.
And no one would ever have that many blankets in their prison cell, especially somebody who at any time was on suicide watch.
Acknowledged in the OIG report, actually. So the fact that he had excessive blankets is a fact. AVR, the cameras were not working. So we know for a fact the cameras did not work at that time. And the last one is Medi, which is how people that think he escaped would have done it,
And he knew the cameras were not going to be working.
Been through medical. Then he says watch, exclamation point.
And then he said that he would go through medical. This is his writing. Now, in the beginning of yesterday's show, what did I discuss? There's a CO that spoke and talked about seeing him leave out through medical in a chair.
So what is it that he's watching for? Something to do with the blankets, the AVR, or the Medi. But those are three of the big things that had to be taken care of if he was actually going to pull off something like this. So I think this page, despite the fact it's just...
There's a CO that came out and said that they moved him out. He was medevaced out.
A couple of words could potentially be very consequential. All right, let's...
So look, all right, they're saying those are the things that were mentioned that would have to be out of there without media knowledge, okay? This was posted. It says Epstein's suicide, FD302. They literally built a fake body out of boxes and sheets or blankets to sneak his real corpse past the media. Insanity, all right? I've already spoken about this before, but let's just do it again, all right? Let's just do it again because this thing at the loading dock with a black vehicle. In order to thwart the media, blank, blank, and blank used boxes and sheets. Boxes and sheets.
Hold on, you guys. When they get to the money.
Epstein prison mate that happened in June and July of 2019, putting Epstein solo in a special cell. $1 million.
This week, we're hosting a free...
Hold on. I want to get to the money part. I want to just show you how he was able to move his money around like this.
Okay, $3,591. A whole lot of cash is changing hands, basically. Okay, a review of public media information identified Jeffrey Epstein as the 100% owner of one of the accounts. Right? Whoopsie doodles. Okay,
He's doing all this while he was in jail.
Breakdown that somebody has done as well. Okay, this is an interesting comment, and this digs into it deeply. Okay, it links the official link that's in the Department of Justice files. It says, I think this may be a major development. Update with chronology of events in a major new financial update. On December the 8th, 2018, Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon had a conversation discussing their potential upcoming court cases where Bannon promises to bring Jeffrey somewhere without extradition, plan in motion, or started before this date. On February 2019, Epstein pays U.S. Virgin Islands the $75,000 fee for South Country to operate as a domestic financial institution, aka a limited or small bank. Southern Country is a company he set up in the Virgin Islands, which links up to his escape plans and moving money around globally. Southern Country used to be domiciled in Florida as Financial Strategy Group Incorporated.
Now, this is the reason why I said MIA meant Florida.
More on Southern Country later and its bank information and reasons like deploy capital, but you can search for that term. On April the 12th, 17th, and 27th, Epstein moved money around. On April the 26th, 2019, and throughout 2019, Jeffrey Epstein transferred money from Deutsche Bank and other banks around in higher frequency as normal than in other years, even in 09 and 014. Links on that later. May 13th, 2019, Epstein sells stocks and liquidates his TD Ameritrade and Schwab accounts and sends
Because he knew all of this was coming.
the stocks to Southern Country. Now all of the money is where it needs to be and all the people involved are paid, all of the countries involved are paid, and his residency and secret non-extradition location is set up. On June the 11th, 2019, the account from First Bank of Puerto Rico received wire deposits from Southern Country matching the money amounts to the shared liquidated in May 13th, 2019. I guess that meant shares. July 23rd, 2019, a staged offing by hanging happened, which brought Epstein to the special housing unit, which then allowed for the extraction to happen. We do not know if he was murdered after the extraction or if he's still alive. We still need more evidence. On August the 8th, 2019, Epstein signed his will. That's the same day the cameras were turned off, people. Jesus Christ, right? He named Khan and Indik as executors and his brother as the beneficiary for around $500 million of...
So, of course, his brother would say that the cadaver that was in there is Jeffrey. Of course. People would say, well, they're saying that his brother was unalived while he was in there, and it was the government that, yeah, because if you're going to... The whole thing is to create suspicion. The whole thing is to deflect. It's best that you believe he is deceased, and that's him. And somehow this foul play that you cannot prove, will not be able to prove, right? And now you're sitting on $500 million. All of this money taken out of Deutsche Bank, taken from everywhere, sent everywhere. I mean, everything is clearly there and set up. You can just follow the money. You can follow the money. And then the girlfriend, whoever she sells this island to, who she sold it to, well, you should also people should be looking into her involvement in the company that she supposedly owned that sold the island. What other benefactors are involved in that?
Clean money from legal investments to be outside the RICO, their legal theory, for his brother to be able to keep. On August the 9th, 2019, oh my God, the Department of Justice issues not one but two different press releases the day before Epstein died or was extracted from prison. That's mental. We've already spoken about that. August the 10th, 2019, Epstein was extracted, then murdered or extracted to a location that does not have an extradition agreement with the United States as coordinated and planned by Stephen Bannon. There are posts from the prison guard on Reddit already in his actual prison report that Epstein was taken out in a wheelchair and brought to a passenger-type van with a guy in a military outfit. Okay, we're jumping the shark now. This means some kind of Israeli military attaché officer in New York from Israel's consulate may have been involved. Why has it got to be Israel? I'm sorry, but like...
I feel the same way.
I don't really get down with all the anti-Semitism, but why has it got to be Israel?
Why? This is where you cheapen it. This is where you cheapen it. Everything starts to go together, and then they come up with this story. Or maybe it's true. At this point, who's gonna who's gonna not believe that somehow that I mean, how could you not? This is listen, you guys. I'm gonna do this a ton of other stuff. There's the elections, there's a million and one things that are in front of us that these criminals have done. There is no shortage of content when dealing with these people. The sad thing about this piece of content is what we all have to come to grips with. A lot of people that we looked up to, that we may have believed in, invested some time, energy into, have been a part of a large, and you just can't, there's no word to describe how evil this whole network of controllers and manipulators, how many of them still are out there. You can't even imagine how many girls suffered because of this. And people think, oh, it's the, no, but the thing is that the government doesn't want to admit that they were behind it. Yes, all of these, this is just bad work, y'all. This is just all the way bad. I don't think a lot of people didn't know. I don't think that there was many people who did not know that this kind of thing happened because, in my opinion, Diddy only mirrored what he seen at a higher level. He just did it at the level that he could do it at. And he didn't use little young children. He used just freaky people. He just indulged in all type of just crazy shit. Yeah, he hit Cassie's a woman beater too. But you know more about his alleged homosexual behavior than you do about what Bill Clinton did when he was at Jeffrey Epstein's island. Or anybody else. You don't hear anything about the people from Nickelodeon that constantly victimized those childhood celebrities. This isn't just about protecting politicians. This is a whole apparatus of control. What we see, what we hear, using entertainers, people who are loved by people, they're all approached. They're all told what time it is once they reach a certain level and get to a certain door. It's just something you cannot avoid. And then they all become participants in the largest, most evil act I could ever think of in human history. They feast on human meat. Everything I'm alleging, again, is just my opinion. Put it inside of these fast food chains because they don't have a planet full of cows to give you all those burgers. Man, it's just sad, you guys. People we believed in, how many heroes are really out there? Yeah, God did this. God exposed this because there's a lot of people who are still fighting for this kind of evil, and this is just something that I can't understand why people could stay with this or stand aside by it in the first place. And for the people who are going to tell me that Donald Trump has been mentioned in this, I would implore you to go read something first, because I'm not going to argue with you. If you've seen something delightful on the internet and you think that that person is more intelligent than me, or hey, more power to you. I mean, I do think, again, there are things that I believe he should be doing differently. But again, I'm not in his shoes. I'm not in that chair, and I don't have all the information. And some people say, well, something or nothing never matters. You don't know until you know. I learned that as life changed for me. Take it in context of someone saying, I would never buy that. You would never know unless you could afford to buy it. That's when you'll absolutely know if you would buy it or not. I do think that there are things that should be done differently. I really do, man. I don't think it's cool because it's been both sides, you guys. This has been going on for all these years. All of these politicians been there. It's impossible for people to say that they didn't know or it's a surprise to them. I just really don't believe that shit at all. These people were making themselves rich off of us, man, allowing these people to do some of the most heinous things. COVID was a big experiment on everybody. They did this to everybody, mandated a false shot. I mean, you name it. They tried it. They did it. They did it to every single person. They don't care about your political parties. They only use the word party to make you believe that somehow that there's a celebration and they want you to win the party. They started programming you like this from school when they had competitions with which side would win the pizza party. And from school, it's just been triggered and put in your head. Party means celebration. Kids, you go to little parties, you get the little snack bags, you leave. You get happy when you hear you going to a party because you know you're going to be looking for a snack bag. There isn't a single person hearing my voice that hasn't been to a child's party that didn't see the little party bags leaving. Everybody who's ever lived in this country gives party bags to the kids. Every kid. You are programmed from a child to identify a party as something that is a reward. So this is the reason why you are planting a flag on one side of either aisle and saying, I'm going to fight this for the rest of my life. I do not belong to a political parties. I belong to a nation. I am a constitutional conservative. I love my country. I have no faith in men who have sat there for decades upon decades while monsters like this existed. In the name and on the dollar of the United States of America, blood has been on our nation's hands for far too long. We could have been a nation of leaders and conquerors through strength. Strength how? By curing the diseases that these people have been purposefully creating and trying to trying to dwindle the population so they can reduce the population. If they were smart enough, then they would allow people to live longer because the longer you live, the less children you have. Ask the Japanese. They're greedy. They're evil. They see us as cattle. No one who needs to manipulate you, feast on you, destroy you, keep you ignorant, chemically make you docile, or homosexual is elite or should be leading you anywhere because they're demons. They're evil, evil people. The people who should have control over everything are the people who are saying we can cure it all. We can give you the best of everything. If this really is a floating rock, and if we're out here and if there's a space, then they should be saying all hands on deck, we need to build ships. Because if it really mattered, if saving the human race really mattered, the one thing everyone on this planet would agree on is making sure that we reach for the stars and we absolutely get there. We haven't been led. We've been controlled, dominated, and destroyed, and eaten. We haven't been liberated. We've been lied to and filled with toxins. It's not food, that's plastic. That's not news, that's propaganda. If there were no cancer, if there were no autism, if there were no HIV, if there was nothing that these people didn't create, because I believe they created it, if there was none of these things, or if they cured them all, who would deny eliteness? Who would deny leadership? Who would deny giving away what I guess trust that we have left to say, okay, we trust you? Because people have been begging for it. it's great that we are exposing all of the horrible things that are going on. It's more important that we focus on also healing this country. I had Angela Staten here, man, but we didn't have time to get a show in. Shout out to my sister. But I do want to talk about them having a cure for sickle cell, because we're already trying to get there through this administration. They have a cure for sickle cell. There is a big psyop happening. They're trying to get people to hate this country, second guess their decision to elect this man and get him in there. Short attention spans. People forget what they were up against. People forget about Kamala. People forget of Kamala. People forget all about Kamala. Okay? Forget all about the threat of all of that. They forget about how horrible it was. They forget about the mandates. They forget about everything, and then they focus on things because there's so many things online that if you do enough production, if you sound convincing enough, you'll believe it. What I believe is proven is that Donald Trump was working for them people. It's impossible for you to be a multi-millionaire at the time, real estate and tycoon in New York City, and then you don't work for either the mob or the FBI. And when Sammy the Bull Gavano was asked about Trump, he said you couldn't get around the guy because the guy had the feds all around him. I do believe that maybe he may have had friends who are associated with him, or people who, if not his friends, people who he know, who he's associated with, that were associated with Jeffrey in some way or named with Jeffrey in some way, somehow. I believe that when he called it a hoax, he should have been more articulate, saying it's a hoax against me. I didn't do anything with the guy. And I do feel like, man, God don't make mistakes, because none of this shit would have came out unless we would have got this man elected. So for the people who are watching that were Trump and now you're anti-Trump, I'm going to ask you one serious question. Would any of this shit, would any of it at all, you would have got anything, like, would have come out if anyone else would have got elected? I'm going to say no. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay American, and remember, both sides, two dirty wings in the same dirty, dirty, dirty bird. I'm not saying I'm expecting everything to be perfect. I am saying that I do believe that there is a God who is perfect and who uses men who are not perfect at all. I don't believe that a man has to be fully perfect in character for God to use you. I believe God uses the best men for the best situations. And I don't believe that any of these things would have been shown to us at all. We still would have been laughed at, ridiculed. We still would be persecuted. We still would be even more censored and controlled. It would be worse, way worse. There would have been millions more people here had we not prayed and asked for Donald Trump to be the key to unlock everything that we're seeing right now. And I would just ask a lot of you guys out there to start thanking God for the truth being exposed, instead of just trying to run down a rabbit hole and then try to throw everybody in one bucket. I know you may not like how things are handled, but ultimately the truth is this government is not going to tell you they're responsible for 9/11. They're not going to tell you they're responsible for JFK. They're not going to tell you that they're responsible for COVID-19. They're not going to tell you that they're responsible for HIV. They're not going to tell you that they're responsible for the 2020 election still, but even though that might come out. And they're not going to tell you that they're responsible for creating George Soros, BlackRock. They're not going to tell you that they're responsible for creating Jeffrey Epstein, as well as arming all type of so-called terrorists abroad in order for us to go over there, shoot them up again, and take the weapons back. I've been a patient here now for close to a year. I wanted the best care. I wanted consistent care.
Sometimes you can go to places and when you do the reviews, you'll see, oh, you know, it's okay. If this person is working, it's bad. But when you check the reviews on the Smile Doctor, it's all positive. As soon as you walk in the door, I was always made to feel like I was a priority. It can give you a great experience. The televisions on the ceilings almost give you a euphoric flying feeling. They find out what music you like. So even the music of choice that you do like, it's playing when you walk in. I had a debilitating tooth issue that was actually going to start eating away at my bone marrow. And Dr. Reed caught it very early on. He removed the bad tooth. The surgery was easy, it was painless. I have 2 brand new teeth, and like I said, they're very attentive. So they're gonna measure your discomfort, they're gonna measure what pain you may have, and they're gonna deal with it. It's just a beautiful and positive environment. The experience here is unlike anything else I've ever went to, and I just encourage anybody out there, if you're watching this, come see the facility. Come listen to how quiet it is. Come listen to how happy the people are when they're exchanging words to each other. Come experience what it is to actually come and smile with confidence. Come to the Smile Doctor.